You're about to witness a truly sensational game, a clash between two chess legends. This battle took place at the 1960 Leipzig Olympiad, featuring a young Bobby Fischer against the reigning world champion at the time, Mikhail Tal. Sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy a masterpiece. Alright, without further ado, let's dive into the game. Fischer had the white pieces, and Tal was playing black. The game begins with e4, e6, French defense, d4, d5, knight c3, bishop b4. The Winawer Variation. Black pins the knight on c3, and as a result, threatens to play d takes e4 and win a pawn. That's why Fischer replies with e5, gaining space in the center and taking away the knight's natural development square on f6. Pawn to c5, hitting the center. Pawn to a3, attacking the bishop. Bishop a5, an unpopular retreat, but never refuted. However, more common is bishop takes c3 check, damaging the pawn structure, but in return, giving up the bishop pair. Quick side note, don't forget to support this video with a like and a comment. That really helps the channel a lot, as it tells the algorithm to recommend these videos to more and more people. Thanks so much for your support. Okay, let's get back to the game. As I said, bishop a5 was played by Tal. Fischer b4, attacking the bishop. C takes d4. Also playable is c takes b4. Knight b5. The idea is to play knight d6 check. Black continues with knight c6. Knight f3. Pawn to a6, attacking the knight. Knight d6 check. King f8. Bishop d3. b3, check. King f1. Bishop c7, etc. Back to our game. As I mentioned, c takes d4 was played by Tal. Fischer queen g4, attacking the g7 pawn. Knight e7. B takes a5. In case of queen takes g7, then rook g8. Queen takes h7. Bishop c7. Knight b5. Pawn to a6. Knight takes c7 check. Queen takes c7. Attacking the e5 pawn and eyeing the c2 pawn. Black is okay. Let's return to the game. As I said, b takes a5 was played by Fischer. Tal d takes c3. Queen takes g7. Rook g8. Queen takes h7. Knight bc6. Theory says white stands better on knight d7. Knight f3. Knight f8. Queen d3. Queen takes a5. h4, and so on, with an h-pawn that has good chances of marching down the board toward promotion. This was played in the game between Smyslov and Botvinnik, 9th match game in 1954. Okay, back to the real game. As I mentioned, knight bc6 was played by Tal. Fischer knight f3, queen c7. There's nothing wrong with queen takes a5. Rook b1, queen c7, bishop f4, bishop d7. Bishop g3 and castle queenside, for example. Black is okay. Back to the game. As I said, queen c7 was played by Tal. Fischer bishop b5. Bishop d7. White's h-pawn heads for a touchdown after rook takes g2. A bad move. King f1, excellent move. Rook g8. Rook g1. Another amazing move. Rook takes g1 check. King takes g1, and white can start pushing their powerful passed h-pawn. White would be winning. Let's get back to the game. As I mentioned, bishop d7 was played by Tal. Fischer castle kingside. Castle queenside. Bishop g5. Underestimating black's reply. Fischer claims he missed a win with bishop takes c6. Bishop takes c6. Queen takes f7. d4. Queen takes e6. Check. Bishop d7. Queen takes e7. Rook takes g2. Check. King takes g2. Bishop h3. Check. King takes h3. Queen takes e7. Bishop g5 with a decisive material advantage as soon as white can consolidate, but this according to him, because you may have noticed that Fischer failed miserably in his calculation in this variation, right? In other words, you've clearly seen on the evaluation bar that the sequence proposed by Fischer is incorrect. Let's return to the game. As I mentioned, bishop g5 was played by Fischer. Tal knight takes e5. Knight takes e5. Bishop takes b5. Knight takes f7. This leads to an exciting draw. White could maintain some tension with bishop takes e7. Queen takes e7. Rook fe1, and the position wouldn't be clear. In other words, it wouldn't be obvious who has better chances to win the game. Okay, let's return to our game. As I said, knight takes f7 was played by Fischer. Tal bishop takes f1. Knight takes d8. In case of king takes f1, bad move. Then rook d f8. Knight d6 check. Queen takes d6. Queen takes e7. Queen a6 check. King g1 and rook e8, followed by queen takes a5. Black is better. Let's get back to the game. As I mentioned, knight takes d8 was played by Fischer. Tal rook takes g5. Knight takes e6, attacking the queen and the rook. Rook takes g2 check. Excellent move. In fact, it's the only move that saves black. Any other move would mean defeat for Mikhail Tal. You can calculate it yourself. King h1. This is perhaps the safest move. Another option was to play king takes f1, but after rook takes h2, attacking the queen. Queen f7. Rook h1 check. King g2. Queen h2 check. King f3, and queen h3 check. This would sacre anyone, right? Okay, back to our game. As I said, king h1 was played by Fischer, the safest move. Tal queen e5. Rook takes f1. Queen takes e6. King takes g2. Queen g4 check. Given the material disadvantage, black is forced to settle for a draw by perpetual check. We all know Tal is an attacking player, but he's no fool. Obviously, he'd rather draw than lose. So, the game continues with king h1. Queen f3 check. King g1. Queen g4 check. And it's right here that these two chess titans agree to a draw. What an extraordinary game. A battle full of emotion, with both players relentlessly trying to attack and break through to the enemy king. A game between Fischer and Tal is always a pleasure to watch. They faced each other several times, and if memory serves, their overall score ended up roughly equal. Tal winning more games early on, but Fischer catching up as he matured in both age and chess strength. What did you think of the game? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to support this video with a like and a comment. Subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.